Alright, let's move on to making our drawing files. And this time, instead of using A-size paper, we're actually going to use B-size paper. So we have a little bit more to play with. B is 11 by 17. Let's put our base in here. We'll get an isometric of our exploded view, and we'll make this a quarter scale. Let's kind of drag this over here so it looks nice. Click OK. And let's also make a isometric view of our assembly file. We'll scoot that over here. Make sure that's shaded. That looks good. Annotate. We're going to drop in a parts list. We'll use the assembly file. And we'll scoot in the items and the quantity. Yeah, we'll save the description for later. And scoot in the part number some though. Okay. Let's add balloons. We have a handle. We have left side or right side, front side or back side, another side over here, our saw holder. Try to make all the balloons about the same height. Okay. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 things here. That all looks right. We are going to add in a couple of descriptions. So for example, the accessory holder, that came out of a 2x4 originally. The back end of this thing is 5/8 inch ply. The bottom is 3/8 inch plywood. Side is actually supposed to say front end, but the wrong file came in, so we'll make that 5/8 inch ply as well. Handle came out of a 2x4. Left side is 3/8 inch ply. Right side is 3/8 inch plywood. And the saw holder also came out of a 2x4. There we go. Let's add in our name. Add in bill of materials. This will be all the materials you would need to make the project. And now we can start to add new sheets. Oh, we'll start with one of the side pieces here. I want to make sure the countersinks are facing us. So they should look a little bit bigger. What does half scale look like? Half scale doesn't look too bad. We'll try that. And if we don't like it, we can always change it. I don't like how big this title block is though, so I'm going to delete the title block, go back into drawing resources and choose a smaller title block. And that'll give us a little bit more room. And let's go back to annotate. We want to show, before we can annotate, let's put in some center marks here. These are annotations. I shouldn't say before we annotate. This is still annotating. But if we have where the centers of the circles are, then it's going to be easier to dimension. And let's cheat a little bit and use baseline dimensions. So you click on a baseline, this one. Then you click on each of the things after it that are of interest to you. And it's not going to let me click that one, but that's okay. Right click and hit continue. And it should space them all out for you. And like I said, it didn't quite do what I wanted it to with one of them. So I'm going to scoot some of these guys in. I want to know where that point is. 6.5. Cool. You may notice that this is going like 0.31, 0.125, or do something a little bit different. In the wood shop, you are not going to have a ruler that measures out 0.875, and it's not going to be that accurate. So instead, we're going to display our dimensions. If we go to Edit Dimension Style, I think this is the right one. We'll see. We want the format to instead be in fractions. And we'll do fractions diagonal, because that looks nice. It'll go down to the 1/16 of an inch. Okay. There we go. 3 1/4, 5 7/8, 6 1/2, 3 1/8, 3 5/8. This all looks good. We do need to know the radius of each of these guys. And see how long this is? It doesn't look quite right. If you right-click on it, I guess you have to hit OK first. Right-click on it and go down to Options. You can say Jogged Leader Line, and then it doesn't go all the way out to where the center point of that would be. Let's go with the baseline dimensioning again. We'll choose this as our baseline. Right-click and hit Continue. It's just off the page, but we should still be able to scoot everything up and have it look decent. And if not, there's still a little bit of space up above it too. Try and make this look good. Alright, now you notice that these holes are a little bit higher than this one. I didn't want to drag that all the way across, so I'm going to put a dimension on this side instead. Just saying what the height of those two little guys are. And we need to show that these are all countersunk. So to do that, give a hole in thread note. And probably look better on this one, honestly. We're going to add just a little TYP after it. That stands for typical. That means that all of the holes you see on this are going to have that same hole type. So this reads that's an 1/8 inch diameter for the little hole, this one right here. And then it has a 3/8 inch diameter on the outside with an 82-degree countersink. And that's typical for all the dimensions. Okay, so now I know how far everything is. Oop, I just saw something we missed. Let's add one more dimension in there. And if your dimensions start to get too close together, it's okay if they're not in the middle of the line. You don't want them running into each other. So I'm going to offset them a little bit so I can read them easier. We do need to know how thick this whole thing is. And I'll put that there. Put in your name. This is the back end. See that there. And it probably would be nice to have an isometric view. So I'm going to go Place Views, Projected, click on this, up a little bit, hit Create, and make that shaded. Okay, next. So we'll say New Sheet, Base, it's going to be well, let's do the accessory holder. That one's a fun one. See if we can get away with a quarter scale for this. I think we can even do a half scale. That would look alright. Let's do half scale. Put in our center marks before we do too much else. baseline dimension again, click on a base, and then every feature, it's not going to like that. Every feature after that, and go through and click on that as well. Looks like something we need to scoot up a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, those should all be readable. Let's add a couple dimensions on here. 1.5. Normally we try and keep our dimensions outside of the object, but in this case it's going to make it a little bit more clear. And let's put in one more for the holes on this. Oop. Yeah, let's try again. We'll add a TYP node after that as well. Okay, we're going to say this is 1, 2, 3, 4 of those through times 4. And our half-inch ones is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 8. So this means how many of those holes you can expect to find. Let's add a node on here for thickness. And this is a 7/8 inch thick part. So we'll say 7/8 inch Oh, I don't like that. Oh well. Thickness. And let's actually add the word note right before it. Put in our name. This is the 2 S's there. Accessory holder. Has a scale already. And it would probably look a little bit nicer if we could put in a quick little isometric view. It would just have to be a little bit small. Smaller than a 1/6. Let's try an 1/8. Yeah, okay. Oh, let's make that shaded though.